I imagine one of the worst feelings that you could possibly have as being a comic book writer would be the cancellation of an ongoing series that you're working on. Now, this usually happens due to poor sales or poor public reception. However, there are certain cases where rising global tensions and very hostile political climates causes you to have to cancel your book early. Or maybe it's your choice. Or maybe it's a combination of both. That was the case for The Brotherhood, a story where writer X, later revealed to be Howard Mackey, wanted to explore terrorist organizations and what makes somebody go from being a normal person essentially to falling into such extremist beliefs. However, our boy had the misfortune of writing this shit in 2001, shortly before some Al-Qaeda militants decided to test some building's structural integrity by flying fucking planes into them. Or somebody could have planted some explosives to collect some of that sweet insurance money, but that all depends on your preferred flavor of indoctrinating Kool-Aid. Either way, it was a very tumultuous time here in the US, and Howard Mackey and Marvel both kind of felt like,
No.
So they came to a mutual understanding the series needed to be canceled. To paraphrase an interview that Howard Mackey did years after the fact, they felt that it was a very bad time to be writing a story following a group of protagonists who were involved in a terrorist organization blowing shit up, so they mutually just called it quits. But they were kind of in a hard position. Public reception of it actually wasn't too bad from my research that I did, but they still felt that it was the right move to end it, and not only just end it and call it quits and cancel the entire project, they wanted to end it so abruptly that there was, for one, no chance that you would ever see these characters again, and for two, no chance that you would care enough to want to see these characters again. But we here at Aging in Chaos, we care. We care enough that we're going to talk about it. Because by them doing it in such a way, all of the characters that were introduced essentially had to have their arcs end in a way that you could completely write them off. So they don't got to touch it. They don't got to think about it again because it was scary times. They don't want to be involved in something that could have had huge backlash if the wrong people would have gotten a hold of it. Like, they didn't want fucking Bill O'Reilly holding up an issue of the Brotherhood on his fucking talk show he had back then, talking about them glorifying fucking terrorists and shit. To have a picture of fucking Spider-Man chilling in a cave with Osama. I found myself reading this story, getting invested in these characters, just kind of taken aback at some points, like, damn, it's just gonna be like that? Y'all just gonna do them like that? And that's why, as the title suggests, The Brotherhood is the perfect way to ruin your entire comic book story with only intentions of doing so. So buckle up, nerds, because today we're not only retracting every statement that we make, we're taking it outside, having it think of the rabbits before we split its hair using a bullet and put it down for an everlasting dirt nap. We're getting into The Brotherhood today. A few things before we get into the story. For one, spoilers. We're going to be going through the whole story. So if you wanted to read it, well, good luck, because it took me months to track down everything. I found issue number 1 in a dollar bin somewhere, read it, and that's when I decided I was going to make a video about it, and then I really wanted to finish the series. Found issues 2 and 3 at Comic-Con last year, and thankfully, out of nowhere, one of my local comic shops actually had the entire series. Shout out Our Galaxy for being the plug for back issues that I'm looking for. For 2, I'm not gonna really be going too in-depth about issue 1 since I already did a whole video about it. Go check it out. The Brotherhood is basically a story about a subsection of mutants that become a terrorist organization called the Brotherhood, led by leaders Hoffman and Orwell. Not to be confused with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. They don't have ties to Magneto. In fact, Magneto is only referenced once throughout this entire story. They mentioned Charles Xavier a few times, but that's kind of a given. Takes place in the X-Men universe. And the tagline for the Brotherhood organization is revolution, not evolution. They feel that mutants have been treated unfairly for way too long, and instead of just fighting for equality, they're gonna fucking murder a bunch of people and they're gonna cement their place at the top of the fucking food chain. Which, to be fair, mutants treat it like dog shit. So they have valid points. But some say that they take their methods a little too extreme. They don't really have any supporters even in the mutant realm. But we'll get into all that as we discuss the uprising of the Brotherhood and then the massive downfall. I'm going to be breaking down this story into 3 different sections. One is going to be the Asher saga, as we follow a teenage boy who is the main character of the first 3 issues. His name is Mikey Asher. The second saga is going to be called the Milan saga. Milan is, just like Asher, another character who was the focal point of issues 4 through 6. And then the last 3 issues, which I'm going to refer to as the Crash and Burn saga. because this is when all plots go out the window, all character development goes out the window, and they rush to completion so fast you would think that they were in a 20-year marriage and they're just trying to get their rocks off before bed one night. So the gist of issue number 1, we get introduced to a teenager. His name is Mikey Asher. He secretly has the X gene. He doesn't even know it yet. His parents don't know it. But he's portrayed as your average outcast sort of teenager stereotype. No love in his household, no friends, no hobbies, no bitches. I mean, he has a girlfriend, but they make a huge plot point in issue number 1 that he really just wants to baste her trouser turkey using some baby gravy, and she doesn't want to. But throughout issue number 1, they paint it as his hormones are like completely out of control. Granted, it has double meanings because he does have this beast of like fucking mutant energy that's building up inside of him, but it's shown in a way that makes it look like he's just this desperate, horny loser whose only cares in life are fucking chasing tail and skating rails. Sick as fuck. So he's having your average I'm a loser and everybody hates me sort of day in high school that you would see in media at the time when he has an interaction with a bully. But we get interference from an Australian punk-looking dude named Fagin. Fagin was actually sent by Hoffman and Orwell, the leaders of the Brotherhood, to recruit Mikey. So Fagin saves him from an ass whooping and is just a fucking savage the entire issue. And then after he saves him from the ass whooping, he's like, man, fuck this school bullshit. Want to get out of here? And Asher's like, yeah, cool, let's get out of here. So they have like fucking Ferris Mutant's day off where hijinks ensue. So it eventually ends where Fagin and Asher come across a mutant who's getting jumped by an angry mob. That's when Fagin drops the fucking bombshell like Power Man 5000 and tells him, you see that? That's injustice right there. That shit's going on a daily basis against mutants, and I care, and you should care, because I'm a mutant, you're a mutant, and we're gonna go fuck shit up, dude. So Asher's world gets turned upside down like he's about to go move in with his rich fucking aunt and uncle in Bel Air. So Fagin steps in and starts trying to hold off the angry mob. He's doing a pretty decent job, but then, gets overpowered. And right when they're about to wreck Asher's shit, that's when Hoffman steps in, actually crowd controls the entire thing, is like, yeah, this is the injustice that is going on against mutants, and you should care because you're a mutant. So Asher reluctantly agrees, and because he's such an isolated teenager with a very low self-image, it's more of just a follow the leader, or rather follow the guy who saved you from fucking ass kicking at lunch. They walk off into the sunset before Mutant blows everybody the fuck up. There's also a few interactions with Mikey and his parents where he just feels like his parents don't love him. His dad is very susceptible to what the media is telling him about mutants. So with Asher's dad being the target audience for fear-mongering fucking media personalities, he's very into this Ross Ludlam guy. Basically has your average like Fox News talk show, and the hot topic in this universe is mutants and the rise of the X gene, and how the government wants to start blood testing to see if people have the X gene, and putting restrictions on who they can reproduce with, and reproduction as a whole involving people with the X gene. And there's also the introduction of 2 actual fucking losers, not Asher, he's just your awkward teenager. There's actual introduction of 2 fucking losers who decide that they want to shoot up the school because they are also being bullied. And that's where issue 2 actually picks up. It actually starts with an interview on Ross's show where he's interviewing a congresswoman about blood testing of people and finding people with the X gene, and also about what they do about the rising militant actions of the Brotherhood. We then cut to Colombia, where a task force is actually breaking into a house looking for a Brotherhood stronghold, but they don't find anybody inside except for one person that's on a couch, and that's where they're subject to what I like to call a boom bamboozle, because they just make them think that they're a normal person and all their information was false, but it turns out that it was just a trap. We finally catch up with Asher, who is now being watched by Hoffman and Fagin. They're taking a standoffish approach, just kind of letting it marinate that they just dropped this huge life-changing news on him. And Hoffman's direct orders to Fagin are to not get directly involved, just kind of let it play out, let him do what he's gonna do. But Asher is not taking this shit well at all. He's in his room crashing the fuck out. Playing a video game, dies, punches the fucking TV. And after that display of gamer rage, he just declares that he's sick of it. Not just meaning the fucking game that he's playing with the joystick in 2001, like one of those fucking plug-and-plays. But context will tell us that he's sick of everything. He already had a fucking miserable life and just hated living for all of this. And now all of this gets thrown on him too. And man's is not okay. He's either doing 2 things. He's crashing out or he's shutting down. We can see this later on when he has a conversation with his girlfriend, who walks up to him and tells him like, hey, I thought about the idea of us fucking. And he's like, oh yeah, you did. And she's like, I don't want to. And instead of before where that like really irking him or just try to be persuasive, he just hits her with the Liam Lynch.
Whatever.
And shit keeps getting worse for him too, because right after that, he gets absolutely pummeled by the bully from issue 1. And he doesn't even try to fight back. He just lets the shit happen to the point where Carrie, his girlfriend, is like, you probably could have got like a swing on him or something. He's just like, doesn't even fucking matter. And that's when the two goth losers come to console Mikey in his one-man pity party going on after getting his ass kicked. And they're like, hey man, we're all fucking losers here. Let me bring you in on our little plan. So they tell Asher about their plan to fucking shoot up the school and get revenge on everybody that has wronged them. But Asher feels like he has deeper shit going on than just not fitting in high school. He doesn't even feel like he fits in with them really, which good because they're fucking twat. And that's when he does some unhinged shit. He starts unwrapping the bandage that he had on his arm from when he punched through the fucking TV. And he's like, you see this? See this blood right here? That's mutant blood. I'm mutant. And these two dipshit assholes are like, oh, gross, dude, you're a fucking mutant. We may be losers and everybody hates us, but at least we're not mutant. So one of them pulls a knife on Asher, and in Asher's unhinged fucking state, he's like, oh yeah, you're gonna do it? Then fucking kill me. I wanna die. You know what? Do it. Do it right here. Do it right now. And that's when the two goth twins get scared because Asher's like, do it. And he's not showing fear and like says that he wants to die. And they run off, which, yeah, I get it. They're afraid of him being a mutant and there's all this fear around mutants. But you motherfuckers are going to kill people. Like that's your whole fucking existence in this story is you are going to commit a mass shooting, and you can't kill one fucking guy the second that he just like gives you the fucking crazy eyes. So Fagin, despite Hoffman's orders of stay away, don't get directly involved, let it play out, so he's rushing in as the two dipshits are running out, and he finds Asher about to pull a fucking Hannah Baker. In all honesty, Fagin's not the best at consoling anybody, because instead of like being there for him like a friend would be, he tells him like, you fucking idiot, like you're a mutant, dude, you have powers, like you're just gonna throw that away because you feel a little sad on the inside. So the two goth losers end up exactly where those people always start and fucking usually end, in their mom's basement. So right after this whole ordeal with Fagin and Asher, Fagin's like, let's go fucking clubbing, dog. Let's get out of here. So the two hit a club where mutants and non-mutants alike are just straight up vibing. And that's when Fagin pulls a play out of the old PSA peer pressure handbook and starts rolling up some green crack to offer Asher. But they get interrupted by a different mutant. Her name is Maribeth. Maribeth confronts Fagin and she's like, dog, you really about to corrupt one of the young recruits by offering him drugs? Remember what happened to the last one who had like a bad trip? Apparently there was a recruit that got a little too high and she took herself out like,
I'm so high. Nothing can hurt me. No.
Instead of just having a good ass time and watching reruns of Wife Swap like I did at that age. So she laying into Fagin about corrupting the new recruits and how he's just a kid and all that. But then she decides to face through the table and grab Asher right by the dick. Does that make her a hypocrite? Yes. So after 2 issues of compressed down bad I need to get laid rage, it finally happens. And after the big ordeal that it was in issue 1 and all of his interactions with Carrie up until this point, how does Asher feel now? Well, he feels indifferent. All props to him, because that makes him a better man than me. Because the first time I got to do the deed, I had to walk a mile back to my homie's house in the middle of the night while I had corn blasting in my headphones, smiling from ear to ear because I just got to lay the... It's like the craziest shit to listen to. Just telling Shorty like, sorry babe, I only make Jonathan Davis noises in bed. Just straight up in her ear like... After the fact, Asher goes home, and this is where Asher's dad turnaround from the kind of just dickhead he was in issue 1 comes into fruition, because Asher walks in, and of course he's watching the Ross Ludlum show. He's like, damn Mikey, where the fuck you been at? Like, you don't have friends? He's like, come hang out with me. We're gonna watch some good old anti-mutant propaganda. It's a very out of touch way of trying to bond with your kid, but he's trying, which is kind of more than he did in issue 1, but he's doing it in a way that's like trying to get him involved into his like flawed beliefs. And Asher, in the most early 2000s way, snapped. He's like, I don't give a fuck about Ross Ludlum, your stupid beliefs. Nobody understands me. Nobody understands what I'm going through. He sounded straight out of an emo album of the time. But even after that mini meltdown that Asher has, the next morning his dad is driving him to school, and they actually have somewhat of a sweet moment to where his dad is just letting him know. He's like, hey, I don't know what's going on with you. I'm not going to pretend that I do. You're a teenager. If you need something, if you need anything, you know that I'm here. I'm your dad. And this is how you can tell at this point they still have hope for this series, because ironically enough, they're adding in human moments. But the good times don't last very long at all. This emotional roller coaster that Asher has been on since he found out he was a fucking mutant and reluctantly joined the Brotherhood, it's all gonna come to a head very, very soon. This next part starts off with him getting confronted by the bully. I think his name is Joey or something. I just refer to him as the bully because fuck him, and you'll see why fuck him. So this stereotypical douchebag walks up and he starts bragging about how he got to smash Carrie. Now we later find out that this fucking asshole did it the alleged CeeLo Green way. He's still bragging about it to Asher like, oh, he got to sleep with her and Asher didn't. Asher's had enough at this point in time. He's not thinking about the size difference. He's not thinking about the fact how he doesn't really have any fighting ability at all. And he rushes in and he gets knocked right in the dome piece. But Asher's finally standing up for himself because fuck Joey. So after Fagin steps in once again, he's telling Mikey, like, dude, what are you fucking doing? Trying to fight this peeking in high school ass jock. Like, we have a bigger fight on our hands. Mikey, the revolution, X, the Brotherhood. You know, we're all fighting for a greater cause. And this is when Mikey's character really starts to come into his own. He's not only standing up to Joey, he's standing up to Fagin at this point. And he's telling him, like, I don't give a shit about that, dude. He just wants to be left alone. He wants to be able to make his own decisions, and he's tired of everybody intervening. Everybody is telling him what he is, what to do. Fagin tells him that if he really wants to fight the good fight, they're doing a blood screening at the school that day, testing for HIV, but it's really just a cover so they can see who has the X gene so they can start fucking documenting these people. But Asher's sense of morality doesn't lie within Fagin and the Brotherhood idea of fighting back and standing up for mutant rights. And it also doesn't align with him just standing around being a punching bag anymore. So Asher basically tells him to fuck off because he's not going to be told what to do by anybody anymore. And this is when Asher's character really starts to shine, because he's in line doing the whole blood screening thing that the school is doing. Granted, he has the X gene, so he's kind of fucked either way. But mentally, he's planning on how he's going to stop the Goth twins, whose plan of attack for shooting up the school was for that day. So he's in line waiting, and then he just fucking bolts out because he's rushing to tell the principal, like, hey, there's going to be a fucking catastrophe. You got to get on this, dog. You got to, like, we gotta stop this before this happens. But being that the mutant scare is at an all-time high, instead of them hearing him out, these motherfuckers are just like, yo, you see how that kid just stepped out of line like that? Yeah, I saw that. Bet you he's one of those goddamn dirty mutants, isn't he? So he gets bum rushed by a bunch of fucking men in black, and not like the kinds whose wife fucking hates them and belittles them on talk shows.
Oh, wow.
So they rush his ass, and they're continuing to be like, why are you stepping out of line? What are you afraid of? What are you so fucking scared of? And he's like, oh, you guys think it's because I'm a fucking mutant? Well, yeah, I'm a fucking mutant, but there's bigger shit to worry about. Someone's gonna shoot up the school. They have bombs. They have fucking guns. And all these motherfuckers here is, see, I told you this motherfucker was a mutant. Yeah, I fucking knew it, that greasy, horny bastard. Let's kill him. So they're about to angry mob his ass, and he's still trying to save the day. All hell is breaking loose, but he's running around trying to concoct a fucking plan to stop these two losers from shooting up the school, who actively is trying to kill him, being the most heroic person that we've actually seen in the 3 issues so far. And that's when Hoffman's aura farming ass decides to fucking intervene and step in, so he's just walking down the hallway of the school, pretending to work for the faculty. He stops the bully and is like, yo, you gotta come with me, we're going to the office right now, my boy. And then also, Asher's dad is there too, and his dad is just looking for Asher, and Hoffman's like, yeah, dude, I work for the fucking school. Do you not see my fucking trench coat, scar, and long black hair? Obviously, I'm a school official, so come with me. I got you, dog. Meanwhile, Asher's running the halls trying to figure out a way to stop this, and he gets the idea, I'm gonna pull the fire alarm. That would mean that they have to evacuate the school, and then these fucking losers will show up to shoot, and nobody will be there. So he pulls the fire alarm, and he's thinking he's just gonna dip into this bathroom real quick, and he's just gonna wait it out. Once the heat dies down, he'll just pop out, and everything will be somewhat okay. But that's not what happens. So he goes into the bathroom after pulling the fire alarm, and he sees that the fucking 2 goth kids are dead because Maribeth kills them on some American History X shit. And Asher is obviously upset because he's like, damn, you killed 2 people, which fuck them. They're not people you should really feel sorry for dying. At his heart, Asher doesn't want anybody to get hurt. And if you thought Fagin was bad at fucking consoling and explaining actions and, having emotion, Maribeth one-ups him again. She's like, yeah, I killed them to save you from running around and playing hero and putting yourself in danger. It wasn't about the school. The other kids at the school that I happened to save.
Fuck them kids.
So they're having this intense moment in the bathroom. It's Fagin, Maribeth standing over the bodies of the fucking Goth twins and Asher. And that's when Carrie walks up and she's fucking livid at Asher, not for cheating. And after he consoled her about finding out about what Joey did, but she's mad that he's a fucking mutant and thinks that he used mutant powers to get her to think about the possibility of them sleeping together despite them being in a relationship together. She even goes as far as comparing Asher to the guy who drugged her and took advantage of her. Asher's having a worse high school experience than fucking Toby from Degrassi. And what's even more fucked up is at this point, Hoffman, Joey, and Asher's dad all come together in the same bathroom. And Joey proceeds to grab Carrie in like a I'll protect you from the mutant way. Now at this point, everybody knows Asher's a mutant. He has the fucking X gene. But his dad is still trying to console him and asking like, dude, who are these people? Like, why does this middle-aged drifter looking motherfucker know my son? And why is there 2 dead goth kids on the floor? Like, what's going on? And Hoffman does what Hoffman does best, manipulates the situation to push his political agenda. It's explaining how this is what humanity asked for when they started to relentlessly persecute mutants and treating them so unjustly. And in a complete moment of sincerity, Asher's dad throws all of his political beliefs away. All of the fear-mongering and prejudices that he once held go out of the window because he wants to be there for his son, despite knowing that he is part of this population who 24 hours ago he hated and saw as going to be the root cause of human extinction, putting Asher in a position where he has to make his choice. Is he going to go back to his life and deal with the repercussions of having the X gene in this world is very intolerant towards mutants? Or is he going to join the Brotherhood? And for lack of a better term, this is when Asher grows up. He starts telling Hoffman, like, I know you're trying to paint yourself as this savior, as this guy who's going to come in and protect me from what is happening because of something that I had no control over, that I was born with. But you manipulated every situation to get me to think the way that you do. But I can still think for myself, and I still have my own morals, my own ideals. I'm not going to be some radical puppet that you can just manipulate like that. Hoffman's explanation is like, I get it, dog. You got to understand, like, for your safety and for your family's safety, it's best that you don't go back to your old life. And to be fair, he has a point. Asher's only been openly a mutant for about 5-10 minutes, and he already has a squad of people with assault rifles rushing in ready to fucking kill him. He just said he was a mutant and tried to stop a school shooting. Like, well, we got to kill that fucking kid now. But regardless, Asher's standing up for himself now. He knows that he has to decide his fate. Ultimately, he chooses to go with the Brotherhood. Now, it's not framed in a way that's like he's being brainwashed or he completely just drank the Kool-Aid, and it's framed in a way that this is actually a complex decision. So he came to the conclusion that it might be best for his family's protection. It might be best for his own survival if he doesn't go back to his life where everything is kind of in shambles. So with the anti-mutant kill squad on the way, Asher's powers finally come into fruition. I mean, homie starts glowing, there's like fucking lightning and shit, and he tells everybody to get out of there because he knows what he needs to do, and he just blows the fucking school up. Ironically, he's supposed to stop the school from blowing up, but in a roundabout way, the Brotherhood ended up getting what they wanted. I mean, Asher didn't really harm any innocents, just the anti-mutant kill squad that was coming for him. And ultimately, the issue ends with the school being torn down. It's nothing but rubble and flames everywhere. Tells his dad he loves him, then he walks off into the sunset once again with the Brotherhood. Which is why I believe that Asher's character was well thought out, and I would have liked to see where it would have gone if, it wasn't canceled and their whole idea is to completely shit on everybody towards the end of this. We'll get there, trust. But it's also important to note that there might have been other issues going on, and the research that I did didn't really tell me if there were, but you can even notice like art continuity errors. The last 2 pages of this issue looks entirely different than the rest of the issue, and it does kind of take you out of the moment a little bit. It takes you away from the story that they're trying to tell. But this is where they take a pause from Asher's story for a little bit. Now, before we move on to the Milan saga, which will be issues 4 through 6, it's important to note that there was side plots throughout this entire thing that kind of develop where the story is going. Being after that, like, military invasion went south in Colombia, looking for like a Brotherhood hideout or whatever. But anyway, they end up in Louisiana where they're trying to get the only survivor help. And that's when we get introduced to the main villain of the series. His name is Marshall. They're very ominous about his origins and where he comes from, but he has like fucking clearance to do whatever he wants. It's not like Welcome to Derry, how the fucking psychic guy can just go out, get shit faced, and they just can't question him because he has psychic abilities. And the best way to describe Marshall and his overall demeanor and how he goes about his mission of taking down the Brotherhood, he's a fucking dick. The remaining survivors dying, and Marshall's like, hold on now, don't give him a trick just yet. I don't care if he's dying and can't really breathe. Once you give him a trick, he's not going to be able to give me information, dumbasses. And like the military people are like, fuck off, you're like a civilian. Who even are you? And he doesn't tell them because, once again, he's a fucking dick. And then once he actually takes a step back, he's like, all right, your guys' funeral. And it does turn out to be their funeral, because turns out the survivor wasn't actually one of the soldiers. It was the person that exploded everything. So they're trying to treat what they think is a survivor, which leaves them completely susceptible, being victims of another boom bamboozle. So after we find out that homie was one of them exploding mutants we've been hearing about, we have a moment where Marshall comes face to face with Ross Ludlum. Also, while this is going on, we get moments of Ross, and Ross hears about this failed mission in Colombia where they were supposed to capture X and they were supposed to find this Brotherhood hideout, and motherfuckers just got exploded instead. And he's pissed because, like any good TV personality, he was supposed to have an exclusive to that fucking scoop. But not only was his exclusive story ruined, we also find out that Ross Ludlum has a daughter who has the X gene. He's been keeping her out of the public eye, keeping her away from all the blood testing that's going on in the schools. But he swears that nobody's gonna catch wind of this. And when they do, oh man, when they do, we don't fucking know, because that goes absolutely nowhere. They have a whole page of Ross on the phone talking about his exclusive fucking insider information, and then his daughter with, the X gene, and it goes absolutely fucking nowhere. In fact, they actually reuse that plot point for different characters. We'll get into that. This side plot all comes to a head where Ross has this standoff with Marshall, and the reason why I'm just kind of introducing it at the end is because that goes absolutely fucking nowhere too. So Marshall, he remains throughout the whole story. He's the main fucking antagonist for the Brotherhood. It goes nowhere, man. Like, Ross isn't even heard of again. Let's get into the Milan saga now.